No, you're not.
I'm not
Okay.
even boring when I'm boring. And it's like,
Lisa,
man,
you're
I'm
never
super
boring. You're never boring. Welcome, everybody. This won't be boring. We're going to have a chat about what everyone's been up to in rather interesting times in human history, and obviously look at what our strategies are around wealth preservation at this point. Hello, Maggie. Hello, Lisa.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Maggie.
Do you like my private island? That's my husband in the background.
So, Lisa, it's been a few months since we've had you on a video. Do you want to give us a bit of a rundown of what's happening in your life?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing's happening in my life, no.
Okay, Maggie.
Nothing ever happens. Next.
Well,
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
It's like, yeah, everything. Since we've last spoken, Maggie's bought an island.
Well,
Yeah.
you've sold a house. You've redone your movie script.
Yeah, so
you're
I'm
changing what you're doing in the crypto space. So that's not nothing. Where do we start? Where do we start now?
Where do we want to start? My life's never boring, so I try to make my life boring, and it keeps coming at me. So it's like, you know, I get rid of one thing, and then the next thing happens, and the next thing happens. So, yeah.
So, well, what's the latest on your script? Because that's quite.
So the latest on, I've been having a lot of meetings in virtual meetings now, so via Zoom and via Skype and WhatsApp. So, which has been kind of cool. So execs in Hollywood have got lots of time now. So they're like, let's talk. And I'm like, let's talk. So
I think there's going to be a large appetite for media content as well. I know personally I've seen everything on Netflix there is to watch in the last 2 months of isolation. So give us some content.
I actually
quickly,
spoke
please.
to a buyer the other day, and anyone that's got films at the moment, sort of, you know, Netflix and, you know, all the big consumers are, you know, buying at the moment. So once that kind of ends and we're taken away from all of this sort of stuff, then they're going to be looking for stuff to make. And I got told by one of the buyers the other day, which is a really huge compliment, that my film will do for crypto what
the Big Short,
sort of, you know, the Big Short did for finance. So I'm like, woo.
So it's called
Coin.
Lisa, it's called CoinRunners. What can you explain to people where the name came from?
So CoinRunners was a business that Dark Energy, which many people in the industry will know, he started that, and I came into it about halfway through. And yeah, so it's about deals that we did through CoinRunners. It's about deals that I did individually. It's about, so some stuff that, you know, basically happened with him in the industry, and it's all from my perspective. I can't even speak. Perceptive.
Yep.
Yeah, can't even think. So it's completely from my perspective, and you know, so it's not from his. It's not from anyone else's. It's how I felt about all of these things happening. How I felt. What was happening to me, and you know, the events that sort of happened all around.
So
what was happening with
CoinRunners in there, and is it actually
a lot of drama?
Is a lot.
So everything with Dark Energy was drama.
Is there a happy ending to it, or
maybe
happy Hollywood ending, or is it
happy? Maybe.
Or is there a twist?
There's lots of twists.
Okay.
Just when you think it's going one way, it goes another way. So that was life with Dark Energy.
That's life with crypto in general.
So crypto in general, like a lot of this stuff, sort of all of this happened, you know, started at the all-time high. So you can only imagine sort of how it all went from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, his life sort of paralleled what was happening in crypto.
Okay. What's the film really about, Lisa? Tell us a bit more.
Well, the film's really about me. So the inspiration actually came from a therapy session way back in, I think it was August 2018. Wow. So after some events had transpired, and, you know, I was sort of in a meltdown and started like, in-depth therapy to sort of get myself back on track. I quit CoinRunners, and we'll see that in the movie at the point where I quit CoinRunners as to what happened. But yeah, so that it started just literally writing down events that happened from my point of view and evolved into a movie. And Jenna Jeffries from Lawrence Bender Productions, most amazing producer in the world, most amazing woman in the world, and apart from Maggie, of course. And
company accepted.
Yes, exactly. But she's been invaluable, and the whole way, just as, you know, my life has changed and events have happened, and we've, you know, added those into the movie. And yeah, so it basically transpired from a therapy session, and I wrote it with an executive that helped me sort of write it all down, and document the events, and it's gradually shaped into a movie. It's version 24, and it's more like a movie. It still needs some work as the script, but it's coming along.
Has
really
it been therapeutic for you, or has it been quite hard? Because obviously there's some. I've read the script. It's you know, the subject matter is it's very much a love story. It's about addiction. What's been that process for you? Has it been tough?
Wow.
I mean, you've rejigged it quite a bit.
It's making me think about moments now, and I'm tearing up. Wow. Yeah. So it's a very emotional story, writing it and reliving it, and so many people ask me in a roundabout way, and I've never had to answer it on camera, so it's always you know, I can just sort of type a message and say that, but wow. Hang on, just let me breathe. Yeah, it's about a man that I loved very, 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 very much with all my heart. And I don't think I've ever loved anyone the way that I loved him. And yeah, and the realization that you can't save anyone that doesn't want to be saved, and you've got to, you know, sort of watch them do all of this stuff and just be there and pick up the pieces. And yeah, so that's the hardest thing. Hang on, I'm just crying now. It made me cry, Sean.
But where are you now, though? Where are you at this moment in time, would you say? You've come through kind of a dark tunnel, and you're seeing the light at the other end.
Yeah, I'm out the other side of the tunnel. You know, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is. I'm not in that tunnel anymore. And, you know, he's not currently in my life. He made the decision that he walked out of my life. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have to abide by that decision, I suppose you could say, and stop chasing somebody that doesn't. And for me, it's about valuing myself and understanding that if somebody doesn't want to be in my life, I can't make them be there, and that I need to love myself enough that I can let them go. And that's what's happened at the moment. So, yeah.
Maggie, you can ask the next question.
I'm kind of, well, I mean, from my perspective, look, it's difficult for someone like yourself in the position that you're in, because you can't, when someone like me from the outside looks at it, I look at it all rationally and I say, well, what are you doing? Why would you even bother keeping going with that person who, by all accounts, I mean, I've been privy to, you know, having some insights into the script a bit deeper than probably the audience have.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got a better sense, and I've spoken to you in depth that, you know, about him. And I'm just like, why? You've got to walk away from this, because you cannot help this person. That person has to help themselves. And no matter what you do, it's not going to make any difference. And he's not making your life better. And I think I've said this to you before. You're sabotaging yourself. He's not sabotaging you, so to speak. You're letting him sabotage you.
He told me in one of his last messages that I was naive, and perhaps I was, but you know, I think I made a difference to his life.
And he said that to you anyway.
Yeah, when he was on, if you know anyone that's on drugs, they say a lot of things that hurt along the way. So, you know, you either get, it's like an alcoholic or somebody that drinks alcohol. They either get happy or they get really mean and nasty. So, you know,
Sean's drinking his beer. It is 5:30 on a Sunday afternoon. So.
Yeah, so, you know, there's that. There's the stuff that, you know, because they're so, and you've got to remember from a psychological point of view that blame is the release of pain, and so shame is the same sort of thing. So when you have those feelings of shame, you blame, and it's releasing the pain. So you've got to sort of step aside from that as being the family or the person in a relationship with a drug addict, that these things are going to happen, and it's not about you, it's about them. What they're saying is about them. None of anything that he said was ever me. It's like, I know who I am, and that person that he was talking about was not me. And it's like, these are his feelings, and he's releasing that, and the words he's saying are just words. It's like, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So,
but you know, because you've gone through these cycles, right, where the relationship is being good, he's being clean, and then he's gone back to the drugs and gone down that sort of dark tunnel. So it's happened a few times, but doesn't it get to a point where, because even for him, if he's not going to change, how are you going to make that decision to move on? Because there's a lot of amazing things happening for you in the future. First of all, you've got to get this film made, and you know, you've got to be 100% on that once you go into film production. So how do you
we are actually talking about the film, because a lot of people watching this might not know.
so the film CoinRunners is about a relationship that I had, and it's also about a business that I had with that person that had an addiction. So, but the thing is, you know, looking at the whole story, I'm part of that. So you develop this addiction to that person because of, you're trying to save them, and you're trying to stop them, and you know, it's all fear-based, because you're terrified that the next overdose is going to kill them, or the next thing that happens is going to be worse than the last one that happens. And, you know, he's ruining his life because he's going to end up in jail, and you're trying to fix all the mistakes that he's making. You're trying to make him fix all the mistakes that he's making. And he did. He made good on like all of the money that, all from what I know anyway, so that went missing. He sort of, you know, repaid a lot of that, and, you know, made amends in those areas. And, you know, that was one of the things that was really important for me that he did for me to stay in his life, that he needed to fix all of this stuff. yeah, so
I mean, you're going to have to find the right producer here, Lisa, because you know we've read the script. We obviously know you've had somewhat of an an insight into into your life, and therefore understanding what you've really put into the script emotionally is huge. So really, finding the right people to work on this project with, I think it's going to be pretty huge for you, eh?
Yeah, so
I've
met some amazing.
It is your heart and soul. You've
it
really
is,
put
and
into
it's
this.
like I don't want it to get into Hollywood and it to be sort of ripped to shreds. But on the same token, there's a story there, and it needs to be watchable. And there's light moments and there's.
But I think that's what I'm
moments,
saying.
so.
I think everyone will be able to identify with this movie. Yes, crypto is that is this roller coaster, and that's the amazing. I don't want to call it a backdrop, but for me, the intimate nature of that script, where you've really put your heart out there around this relationship, around the issues of addiction and so forth, are huge. And anybody watching this film is going to have
one of the things I want people. Yeah. So one of the things I want people to take away from the script is that addiction is more than just drugs. It's about a person. It's a person. It's not just, you sit there and you say, he's a drug addict. No, he's a person. And that's first and foremost, that's what he is. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and I want to put that message that they're still lovable, that people still care about them, that, they have family and they have friends and they have all of this stuff. And it's like, yeah, they do really horrible and bad things. But at the end of the day, there's still a person in there that, is loved by someone. And, I still love him. It's like, I don't stop loving him because he's walked out of my life. It's just, it just is.
What was his reaction to knowing that you'd written this script?
There's been varied reactions over the he's known the whole time that I've been writing it, and it's always about.
He's quite a well-known. You're both very well-known, so it's not like it's a mystery character.
Yeah, so it's from Lisa's point of view, and will Lisa's point of view sort of, show him to the world in a negative way. And I'm sure there's aspects in there that do, it's like he wasn't an angel. But I'm sure there's aspects in there as well that show that, what he did was, cute and funny, and he was a lovely guy, and in some way he did care for me. And
what was he like as a kid growing up? Does he ever share that with you as a kid growing up? What kind of kid?
As a kid growing up, so we had very similar sort of stories in a lot of ways, where he was quite a perfectionist, and he's super intelligent, and so that sort of thing, where for me, and this was something that I needed to work on in my life, and I think in his life as well, it's the goalpost theory. So you get there, you don't celebrate, the goalpost moves and you keep going. So it became about celebrating all the little moments in life and all the little achievements, and, so because the goalpost does keep moving, but you're not celebrating, you're just focused on the next thing. And it's like, and then if it doesn't happen, you're so disappointed.
Yeah.
So, he's very much like that, and very driven. And, the perfectionist thing as well sort of is hard. So
because if you fail at perfection, if you don't get perfection, you feel like a failure. Because I'm also a little bit of a perfectionist, or people have told me I'm a perfectionist. I don't think I am, but perfectionists never think they're perfectionists, because they're always
they don't. And it's like, it's like I am a perfectionist, and I like to master everything I do, and it's like, so it can be a downfall, because you develop you know, addictions, and you developed sort of, you know, various different things. So as a child, I had anorexia, which is very, very similar to addiction. So, and it's the same mindset where,
well, it's a control thing, I think.
It is a control thing, and it's also the thing that, you know, everything in my life's going wrong. This is the one thing I can control. Yeah. So, and I can escape through not eating, and I feel better about life. So, you know, for a drug addict, everything in your life's going wrong. I'm going to take drugs, and that's going to fix it, because at that point I feel better. Yeah. So it's not necessarily a good thing to do, which it's not. No. So, yeah.
And also it's a way to escape reality and facing up to your responsibilities, I think. Drug addiction. I don't know. I don't take drugs. I've never taken drugs. I've never been in that situation. So that's why for me, it's really hard to understand why. It's a bit like being married to somebody who beats you up and you keep going back for more. And why does someone do that? It's hard for me to understand, but of course there are reasons why that happens, and it's complicated.
Yeah, it's a very, very complicated thing, and it's ultimately the belief in yourself that you're not enough, that you can't escape what's going to be on the other side. What will people think of me? So, you know, there's a lot of things, like growing up in that sort of situation and watching that happen to my mum. So, you know, that sort of feeds into the person that I become as an adult and the choices that I make. And, you know, they're not necessarily good choices. So, you know, relationship wise, or, you know, whatever. So, yeah, so it's all of these things that sort of go back as, you know, an adult. You develop addictions, or you develop, you know, personality traits that all go back to how you were, you know, brought up as a child. And, you know, there's a thing, attachment theories. So whether you develop an anxious attachment, or you know, nervous anxious, or I can't think of what they are right off the top of my head, but, you know, you want to be sort of settled and feel loved and have that sort of attachment where you feel, it's called a secure attachment. So, and that's what you all strive for, that you can have a good relationship with somebody. And, you know, but sometimes you get attachment styles that sort of, you know, grind, and that push-pull sort of effect happens. So, yeah.
Lisa, what's your background and sort of TV and media? Obviously, you know, the people watching this probably know you from the crypto world and TA and so forth. But what have you done in that space previous?
So I started off as an actress, and then I bought an agency. I was working for my brother, and I took a redundancy package, and with that it enabled me to buy this agency. And then I ran that agency. It was a modelling and casting and extras agency, and we did production as well. We developed films, we developed TV. So I did that for 15 years. I created some of the most amazing actors and models out there in Australia. So I started them from, you know, the beginning and helped them through. And that's kind of what I did. I created their careers and marketed them. And yeah, so that's quite an awesome part of my life. And I see these people on TV and film, and I'm like, I help them. So yeah. And many of them still reach out to me and just say, hi, this is what I'm doing. And it's pretty awesome. So
who's going to play you in this movie?
I would love Margot Robbie to play me.
Oh, yeah.
Great actress.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love her in Bombshell.
She's Australian.
Of course. All the best actresses are Australian.
Yes.
No, there are some great ones out there. Kate Blanchett is another one.
Nicole Kidman, another one. Yeah.
I asked John McAfee what his favourite movie was the other day, and he said it was an Australian film called Bliss. I've never heard of it. Have you seen it?
Bliss? No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to look that one up.
It's about a multicultural relationship. It's in Perth.
Oh, that would be right up his alley. So, yeah. So, yeah. So
Okay.
he seems very, very in love with his wife, which is a good thing.
I did a nice interview with him a few days ago, actually. Yeah, she seems really lovely. Yeah, yeah. He's
Where is she from? Is she American or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been sort of quite public lately, saying you're really moving away from a lot of the TA type work you've been doing into focusing on this now. Is that the case?
Yeah, so I've kind of moved away from a lot of TA stuff. I've moved out of the Discord because that was kind of consuming a lot of my life. And, you know, to get this film done, I needed to pull away from that. But I still love crypto. I'm still really interested in like global adoption and all of that. So I'm starting a website called Getting Started in Crypto. And
great,
yeah,
I've got you as competition now. Fantastic.
So you'll never competition. You only enhance everything.
Don't poach Maggie from me though. All right.
Broke my ego.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, mine will just be, you know, sort of teaching people how to use things and teaching.
Can you please appeal to more ladies, because there's not enough females in this industry?
Well, this is my discussion that I've had with so many people. And it's something that my mum sort of instilled into me from when I was a really little girl, is that women, especially women, need to always have a backup plan. You don't know, you know, say you've got a husband or a partner or a boyfriend or whatever he is.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if he walks out? What happens if he dies? What happens if you are all by yourself? You don't know what those circumstances are going to be. It's like, how are you going to support yourself? So this for me is what crypto can be for like all of these women. So, you know, if I can teach one woman to trade, I can teach her how to make money, I can teach her how to be self-sufficient, is what I want to do.
Actually, your timing's perfect. I was just talking to someone this morning, a friend who works for a huge hotel group. And she's told me that they've cut their salaries by like nearly 80% for the next 3 months. And she's freaking out. She's saying, Maggie, what am I going to do? Like, I need some help with how to invest.
Learn to trade crypto.
Well, look, on that note, everyone is absolutely freaking out. I think we're sort of gone through that period of disbelief of what's happened in the last month or so. Now we're probably, you know, over the next few months, I'm sure it's even more of a case for you, Lisa, people coming to you saying, what's the future got for crypto and finance in general, where, you know, it's really becoming a situation of wealth defense now. I know you've just sold your house, which is probably a pretty timely move. What are your thoughts on sort of, you know, where are safe havens? You know, in general, finance in general.
This is the thing. Is there ever a safe haven? I don't think there is. It's like if you can trade, then you can understand how the market works, and you can, you know, buy.
Doesn't matter what direction it's going.
It doesn't matter where it's going. So, you know, learn how to manage your money, learn how to trade, learn how to do all of these things. It's like, don't be. So this is the issue with investors and with hodlers and those alike. It's like, so you want to invest your money and you've got a financial advisor that says this is a good market, then all of a sudden this black swan event happens. It's like you don't have a stop loss. You are just an investor. Your money's there and you're losing half of it.
Yeah.
So, you know, learn how to trade it. And that's what I want people to understand, that markets go both ways. You can make money both ways in the market. And
So Lisa, when you trade, are you kind of what they call a swing trader, which is where you hold the trade for a period of time, say a few weeks, maybe a month, and then sell it? Or do you actually day trade and you do shorts and all sorts of like crazy stuff like leveraging?
Yeah, I do. I've got several different accounts. So where some of them I leverage, some of them I'll swing trade, some of them I'll day trade. So obviously for taxation purposes, the longer you hold the trade without selling, the better.
Yeah.
So if I know market direction, then I will have that trade sitting in there for quite a while. So, you know, like I put quite a large sum of money in at around 3,500, and I sold, I think, at about 13 just recently. So,
and what was the time frame on that, for example, if you were keeping in for a long time?
I think that was like about, so I put a chart up on TradingView just before Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that was, yeah, where I was saying that we were going to get the Christmas bonus, and, you know, we went up to about wherever I sold a little bit higher. So, you know, I didn't sell the absolute top, but, you know, I was pretty close to, and I was pretty happy with that. So, yeah.
So 3,000 investment and you get 13,000. That's not a bad return within 3 months.
I think it was like 3 to 4 months. So it was pretty good. Yeah.
That's like someone's salary per month.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, crypto is so volatile.
Yeah.
And just recently it just crashed down. So, you know, if you're shorting that.
Oh, shorting. So what was the reason for that then? For example, the recent crash, do you reckon?
The reason, it was just global markets were having a meltdown and everyone decided it was crypto's turn. So.
Oh, right, okay. No rhyme.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. What are both of your thoughts on, you know, for a lot of people there, they see, you know, I'm getting tapped all the time. Why isn't crypto booming? You know, and I'm explaining, look, everything is just tracking, you know, the traditional markets at the moment, the amount of money being pumped in, they're all moving in tandem. A lot of my friends are taking very big positions in silver and gold. So it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that as well. Do you think, first question.
Yeah, I think that's insanity, but anyway.
We'll get to gold in a second. Do you think crypto could decouple and actually have its own trajectory separate from the stock markets? Maggie, what are your thoughts on?
I still see crypto going up. I still see the market, you know, in the next, 6 months really taking off. It's just,
I agree.
You know, I think once people start to realize what the market is and what it can do, and, you know, once all of this stuff happens with the US government and, you know, they're printing money and they're doing all of this, it's like, and it's kind of what happened for Greece. It's like once they realized that their market was corrupt and they needed an alternative, it's like crypto really took off for them.
Yeah, I agree, Lisa. I agree. You know, you've been in the space a lot longer than me, but the 4 years that I've been in it, the amount of times where, you know, the articles I've written, the discussions I've had, have really been around an event like this, you know, around financial turmoil, throw in this massive black swan that we have now with the virus. I think for me personally, I sort of see crypto tracking the market for the foreseeable future. But I think when we really get into the nuts and bolts of wealth preservation, and people are really in that mode of, God, where in fact can I put capital, I see at that point, I see crypto really potentially having a huge wave of adoption.
Well,
I definitely do.
The sign also is when your friends start calling you and saying, how do I buy Bitcoin?
Correct.
Which I've been getting those phone calls.
And what are you telling them, Maggie? What are you telling them? This isn't financial advice to anyone watching.
No,
but
it's not. Well,
you've been in the space for quite a while yourself. What is the conversation you're having with those friends?
People are extremely lazy. They want to buy it, but they won't learn to buy it themselves. And I don't want to.
See, this is where my website would be great.
Absolutely, it'd be fantastic.
At a more macro level, though, I mean, forget about the actual nuts and bolts of how to buy it. What's your conversation with those people?
I'm saying to them, if you've got a bit of money and, you know, you're willing to take that risk, then, because I've had crypto since early 2017. I first read about it in 2014 and I studied it for 3 years before I even made my first purchase. But that was because I couldn't find anyone to teach me how to buy it and store it. Actually, the teaching of the buying is not so bad. There weren't that many exchanges.
It's wallets, isn't it?
It was the wallets, and that's what worried me because I just didn't know. But once I got the hang of it, honestly, it's like logging into a banking online. It's that simple. really. And it's that intimidation factor, and women are definitely more intimidated. I'm a bit pro women, sorry to the guys out there.
Do you think they're a bit more intimidated though? Do you
women,
really?
yes, absolutely, 100%. The ones I know, they're all wussies, the girls. They just.
What sort of age group are we talking about though? Are we
talking from, actually the ones who've got a bit more about them are people like my 14-year-old niece. She's ready to go. I told her, set up a Saxo bank account. Of course, it has to be under her mom's name. But we were having these back and forth sort of discussions, and she knew exactly what to do, etc. And it was so easy. But then I talked to her mum. She goes, "Oh my God, it's asking me all these questions. I have to do this KYC," because obviously she's 14, so it has to be under her mom's name account. Yeah. And I'm like, don't worry about that. You're not an American citizen. So, they'll hold the taxes if you don't fill out the special form that non-American residents have to. It's simple. It's the W8BN form that you have to fill out at the end of the year, so that your taxes aren't withheld. By the
she's maybe a little young as an example, but one thing we've always
the rest are in their 30s and 40s. I mean, I'm in my 50s, so I hang around with 40, 50-year-old women. So I'm talking to a lot of women like that.
It's going to be fascinating to see, I mean, if the millennials actually have any disposable income in a few months' time, because obviously a lot of my friends are going into gold. But I don't really think millennials, that's something that would even be on their radar. Whether or not people with, who are in that sort of wealth, even if we're just talking wealth preservation here in a few months, I think crypto is firmly on the radar for a lot of people. So that's going to be fascinating. I mean, Lisa, what are your thoughts on sort of, the macro environment in general, whether it's gold, whether it's property, whether it's crypto? Have you got any insights on, your strategies?
Yeah, so gold, I think, we're going to go up for a little bit here, but what happens when all of this stops is people are going to be wanting to sell gold. They're going to be wanting to sell all these precious metals. So, once coronavirus is contained and once it's sort of, we start living normal life again, if that's even going to be ever a thing, people are going to be offloading this. So I think very, very soon we're going to see a peak. So, and gold's going to start declining over the next couple of years. I think, and if we look at sort of macro level charts, then, gold is going down. Hang on, let me share a chart with you.
You're gonna break the heart of many of my friends with that statement.
I am. I'm gonna pull this up and just.
Depends on how long your friends want to hold the gold for, because they're only holding it because they're worried about
I'll put some context around it. These are people with a significant, large amount of capital. So 7 numbers in some cases, and they're really in a mode of wealth preservation right now. And these are the people asking me, should I be going into crypto? They're taking heavy positions in gold and silver. They're not touching bonds at all, surprisingly. But they're just looking for defensive positions. So
well, I'm going to put a big prediction here, and I know a lot of the Peter Schiffs and that we were talking about that before we started recording here. And they're saying that gold's going to go to 10,000. Is that US dollars? Is it, it's not going there. It's just, it's hit a wave 5. It's the same as the global markets. They've hit wave 5s. They have to retrace. They have to correct. And I'm sorry, gold's going to probably $880. It's like
that's what it was in 2008.
Yeah,
12 years ago. That was
I really think it's going to be offloaded. So it's like, we could get a double top here. We could get sort of, a $1,900 to $2,000. I think we're sort of we're going to start seeing a peak here. And, in the next couple of months, and then people are going to start offloading. And I think a lot of people are going to get stuck with their gold. I really do.
Wow.
Okay, that's interesting.
So, if we go, let's load a DJI chart. So I've got the world's slowest internet with all of this right now. It's like da-da-da-da-da as we load. It's not going to load. Nothing's going to load.
Australian internet. It's famous for this.
It's great. Here we go. So we've got a Bitcoin chart. Hang on. Let's see if I can get a better Bitcoin chart. So no. Let's go on the Huobi one. So, you know, right now, so we've just completed a wave up. So we're in this corrective wave pattern here. We're going to go down again. We're going to retest this support. So, you know, we could go here. We've got one more wave up to go. So, and I think we'll see sort of a 7,000 or 8,000 before having another dip for Bitcoin.
Interesting.
You know,
this is
and
before
then
the halvening or
halvening. So I think we'll get, you know, one more wave up to sort of 8.5.
Yep.
And then we're going to drop down again. And you know, we got
traditionally that's what happens to Bitcoin. It doesn't do anything leading up to halving, and in fact, it just is like in a holding pattern. It goes up and down a little bit, but it doesn't. Nothing happens until a year later.
Yeah, so I think we'll see, you know, a little bit of a dip, and we'll go back, and you know, we'll get some good buying at around sort of 4,000 to 5,000. I don't think we're seeing the 1,000s like everyone else is talking about. I don't see that at the moment. Yeah. You know, we've got a long-term support.
What do you think would happen if it went, what would cause it to go to 1,000, do you reckon? Would it be a massive implosion of the economy or like a bail-in, for example?
I just don't see it getting there. I just don't see Bitcoin getting to 1,000. It's like I can't foresee what would happen. You know, I've seen other analysts talk about, you know, Bitcoin imploding and everyone offloading it because it's, you know, criminals and, you know, but its whole history is that.
But don't you also think that the central banking community, like the Mnuchins and Andrew Bailey, who's the governor of the Bank of England, Central Bank of England, they do not like Bitcoin. They want to...
But they've never liked Bitcoin, so what's the difference?
Yeah, there's no new news there, Maggie.
No, but they're trying to bring out their own digital currency, which is why people are getting worried about the US dollar, because that may be what happens and the US dollar loses its value because this new digital currency comes up as a replacement for the world. And if you think about that article that The Economist wrote back in 1988, for those, I put it up on my Twitter account because I just put it up a couple of days ago, actually. And it was written in 1988. And it talks about this digital currency that will come out in 2018 called the Phoenix. They just gave it that name. 219.
But look, all currencies are digital. And I think, you know, I think really we're all in the business of educating people on what Bitcoin is. And really, you know, now more than ever, I think we've got to wrap up that rhetoric that these are a finite supply.
But this is the thing. It's like the Dow Jones we've got here. Like, there was an article that I retweeted the other day, and it was basically saying, let me grab it up. I'm going to find. So, you know, and it's crazy that a major newspaper would even say it. So, you know, so Wall Street Journal, a new bull market has begun. The Dow has rallied more than 20%. It's like, okay, so...
Is that a bull trap?
Yeah, the bull trap.
The most epic of epic bull traps.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like, so, okay, the US government prints trillions of dollars, and then the market rallies, and then it dropped the same day. I think it closed, and
I mean, it's a trade. Lisa, you're a trader with a hell of a lot of experience. As some of these, you know, big institutional traders, they must just be licking their lips here. I mean, this to me just looks like massive trader games going off with these constant huge swings we're seeing. This is the rich getting really rich.
It is. But for, you know, for the Wall Street Journal to publish that is really crazy. Irresponsible. It's completely crazy. And it's like, you know, what goes down obviously has to go up and vice versa. But the thing is, so once everyone gets their checks in the US for their $1,200 or whatever they're getting, and they spend it, and the market's going to drop again.
Buy some crypto with it, people.
Yeah, buy some crypto, buy some Bitcoin. It's like,
it's not financial advice.
It's never financial advice. So, but you know, this is the thing. So the Dow Jones has got this major resistance here that's untested. So at the moment we're about here. We've dropped down a little bit. So we need to form an ABC wave for anyone that's Elliott wave related and understands what I'm saying. And then we're going down again. So we've got a parabola that's formed on the Dow Jones. We may not break through that. In fact, if we do, that's pretty dangerous.
But Lisa, I'm also seeing a W pattern. Is that correct? See your white squiggle?
Yeah.
Is that a W pattern?
It's a W pattern, yeah.
Okay, so that's a good sign because that means it's going up into W. Okay.
But this is going to take a year or, year and a half for this to all happen.
That
so
makes sense to me.
Yeah, so this year we're going to see, very volatile market, and which is really good for traders. It's perfect for making money. But we're also going to see another drop. So we're going to see another drop as big as the first one, in my opinion, because once all this money has finished being printed, you can't just keep printing and printing and printing. No. It's like, you can't save an economy that's, starving and doesn't have a workforce at the moment. So, maybe you can bolster it up a little bit right now, but over a long period of time, it's just not going to happen.
So Lisa, what are your thoughts? I mean, I follow Raoul Paul quite closely and have done for a while. He's got a really good channel called Real Vision. He's been a proponent of Bitcoin and cryptos for quite a while. And this is, the guy, he was head of sales at Goldman Sachs. He predicted the 2008 financial crisis. He's been a Bitcoin bull, very smart guy, great macroeconomist. He's got a significant position in Bitcoin, cash, and treasury bonds. From sort of trading aside, just from an investment, from a wealth preservation point of view, you're happy to share your sort of macro strategy in the coming year or two?
Yeah, so macro, I'm only in crypto. So while I follow the other markets because I'm interested to see what they're doing, I follow gold, I follow silver, I follow platinum, I follow the S&P, and I follow Dow Jones and quite a few of the currencies because obviously Australian dollar is horrible. And I want to kind of know what my buying power is if I'm, buying something in the US or if I'm buying something in Singapore or wherever. So, macro, I think crypto right now and in the coming few months, if you are just investing, I would be buying sort of weekly. So it's, you get that dollar cost average over a long period. If you can afford that, start putting some money in there because over the next couple of years, this is going to really take off.
Look, if it doesn't, then I'm out of crypto because this is everything that I've experienced in 4 years. Here it is. This is what, none of us have wished for a negative event, but here it is,
Here it is. And I think, I've got an opportunity to take crypto to the world with my movie.
Yeah.
And I really feel I can do that. So yeah, it's like if people keep saying to me, you're insane, it's not going to happen, what if your movie doesn't get made? It's like, that's not a what if.
Yeah.
It's like, it's got to get made. It's like, it's such an insane story that I've got to tell. And, you know, people are not going to believe that it actually happened. And
all us crazy crypto people, you're going to help take us to the world with that movie, aren't you?
I'm going to. And
we won't be this fringe element of lunatics like most people seem to think we are. But,
maybe they will think we're even more insane, and they'll probably think I'm a little bit more insane. And you know,
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, Maggie, can you tell us about your experience? How did you come into the space? I mean, you're clearly not insane.
I'm definitely not insane.
I don't think you are. No.
I'm the most sane person.
She's the most sane one between all of us. So.
I'm married to a Yorkshireman who keeps me grounded. Otherwise, I'd be all over the place. I'd be flitting all over the place and going a bit crazy. But I'm the one that kind of pushes the sort of envelope or pushes the edge to the edge a bit more, whereas he's very sort of consistent. So we work together on kind of investments, but he's not really into Bitcoin at all. He just lets me get on with that. But what happened was about 2014, I saw a documentary on the plane coming back. It was the one with Andreas Antonopoulos. It was the story, the beginning of Bitcoin.
Okay.
It was all the main names in there, Roger Ver sort of crying over babies and stuff like that. And babies
Poor
dying.
Roger.
I like Roger.
Yeah, I know.
I do. I like Roger. So.
You've both met him, right? I haven't met him. I've only seen this kind of character on the sort of screen. So I don't know the real Roger there. Maybe one day I'll meet him and I'll have a different kind of viewpoint. But I also read the book, the what is it, Bitcoin Billionaires? You know, the twins, the Gemini exchange twins, the Winklevoss boys. So he didn't come across very well in that, not his character, you know, his personality. But anyway, getting back to me, back in 2014, I thought, wow, this is really interesting. Just so happened actually that my brother, who lives in a different country in the UK, was also getting into crypto at that time. So we kind of talked a lot about it. But unfortunately, it took me about 3 years before I was able to actually purchase it, set up an account, purchase it, and put it onto a Trezor. And like you, Lisa, but I'm not as experienced as you. Well, I'm not experienced in trading at all, but I'm very, very interested in the whole sort of crypto side of things and the education side of things. I have tried to educate friends and family. I've helped them buy Bitcoin. And when people ask me, oh, shall I buy Bitcoin? I say, well, look, if you've got a bit of money to spare, if you were going to take a holiday, for example, which is going to cost you a couple of $1,000 US, why not use that, put that into Bitcoin? Because you're going to lose it. I mean, it's going to go anyway. You would have spent it on a holiday, so it's lost forever. So why not take it and just put it into Bitcoin? But the way that I approach investment is not on a sort of a trading. I have tried the trading part.
Maggie, can I just jump in with one real quick question for you there?
Sure.
Because obviously I've known you for a while now. What's impressed me with you is, yes, you're talking about an investment here, but I also I think you've got quite a good understanding of the real reason that we're all quite passionate about crypto. And we've spoken over the last year or more about a broken financial system and understanding that crypto is offering that alternative. So I just wanted to get you to touch on both the investment aspect and other reasons why you've come into the space.
Yeah, and I think we're going through that same thing again that we did in 2008. I mean, I've been through the 1987. That's how old I am. I can remember Black Monday in the UK, and it was absolutely miserable. At that time, I knew nothing because I was in my 20s. And even again in 1997, I was in Hong Kong at that time, and I went through the changeover, and that was miserable because people were out of work. Everyone was in negative equity. If they were in property, etc., everyone thought Hong Kong was dead. and was gone forever.
Well, that was the subprime mortgages, and that was
and interestingly enough, 1987, it took like even by 1991, it was still miserable in the UK. Nobody had any money. And at that stage, I was offered a job in Hong Kong. So I flew to Hong Kong and like just started a new life. And then in 1997, it was again it was 3 years. By 2000, I left Hong Kong to come to Singapore. But that time it was my husband who was offered a job because he'd lost his job in Hong Kong. And we'd sort of given it as, you know, a certain period of time that we would stay there. And if it didn't work out, you know, we would leave. And so we ended up, but we've never looked back coming to Singapore. So we've been here 20 years. But and 2008, we went through it again. And I kind of missed some opportunities there. And this time, I'm not missing the opportunities. But what I am seeing is, or this is my personal opinion, is that we go through these cycles where the whole we get a financial implosion, and then the banks somehow get bailed out of these things. They always seem to benefit out of the whole thing. And so I just felt like, you know, I've got to get educated here and start learning about this myself and how I can benefit and not, you know, be left behind and be one of the kind of poor people.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's what crypto did for me. You know, it's just been the most wonderful education in economics. You know, we all understand what's going on now when you know, quantitative easing, money printing. If you're in crypto, you get this. You know, it is why we're here.
You do. That's why, you know, I continuously explaining to people about Tether and, you know, how Tether affects the market and how it can make the market go up. And, you know, when they take the Tether out and they bring the BTC in and it kills the market and it makes it go down. So, you know, that's the same. It's Monopoly Rule 11. It's like the bank never goes broke. They just print more money. So, you know, that's what's happening at the moment in the US. We're still going to probably see these subprime mortgages again.
Which is where be your own bank comes from in crypto, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
In a nutshell,
so it's like,
be your own bank.
It is. Be your own bank. And it's like, that's where you want to be. And it's like, I know a lot of like my brother is an advocate not for the be your own bank. He wants it to be, you know, a global financial system. He wants it to help people. But, you know, having control of your keys, having control of all of that allows you to control your money. So it really does.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, on another level, obviously, you know, we've got some different blockchains. You know, you mentioned BSV there. It's going to be fascinating for me now how a public blockchain with utility potentially is going to really come to the floor, to the fore, because we are now going into a world that's going to be vastly different from what we've known, and that is going to be a huge amount of data that is, whether you like it or not, is going to have to be available. Whether it's, you know, whether we go through a mass vaccination scenario here, you're going to have health certificates to travel, etc. Trying to store this and you know, centralized databases on a global scale. This is where I see a public blockchain really coming to the fore and quite quickly, and that could well be BSV. Whether or not that whole sort of store of value with BTC is still way ahead in people's minds. You know, for me personally, I'd probably have to say it is. So they're two quite different things, aren't they? It's going to be fascinating to see how.
I don't know, you know, the store of value. It's like that whole thing annoys me.
It's a speculative store of value still.
Yeah, speculative, very speculative.
Store
and
of
it's
value.
like you can't. We can't be saying it's a store of value. It's not,
it's not
anything physical. It's not gold. It's not silver.
No,
you know, for a lot of people, that is a store of value, and it's like, I get that, but you know, cryptocurrency is so volatile. You cannot be calling it that.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, for every cryptocurrency out there, when somebody thinks cryptocurrency, they always think Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care what anyone says, that's what they think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so if you're going to, and that's why we have the BTC dominance chart, and we look at that for, you know, where altcoins and BTC are going. So
I think my only concern with Bitcoin long term, and I know that supposedly Lightning Network and all of these different kind of tools are being produced to help get over this, is the scalability and the number of transactions per second. And one thing I learned about BSV when I went to the conference just recently in the UK is that, you know, their intention, they're already doing thousands of transactions per second, and they're going to go into millions of transactions per second. Now that to me is very attractive, because that means you can actually use it as an everyday currency. But that's Bitcoin BSV. Now the BSVers out there will probably crucify me because it's
Bitcoin SV, so not Bitcoin BSV, Bitcoin SV.
Bitcoin SV. See, I can't even get it right. But for them, Bitcoin is the SV is Bitcoin. It's just Bitcoin. Yeah. It's very confusing to people out there who aren't.
God, I'm bored of that conversation.
But do you know what? Some of the viewers that might be watching this don't even know what BSV is.
Yeah, I know. True.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. So Maggie, on that note, sorry, I shouldn't have jumped in there. I mean, how do you explain it to people? The three Bitcoins.
Well, to me, there's only two. I don't even talk about BCH.
Okay.
So silence, golden. Okay. No, there's Bitcoin, and then there's BSV. Now I'm still studying.
Well, I think there's actually about 50. There's actually about 50 if you really want to go into
80.
it. So,
forget about
you want to go into all the forks, Bitgold, all of those.
Forget
it.
They're irrelevant.
Diamond, it's like
my hands.
So mine.
They lost the horse race a long time ago. It's Bitcoin, BSV, and possibly BCH. But for me, it's Bitcoin and BSV.
See, I upset so many people in these different camps that it's ridiculous, because I have both. And I have both for quite different reasons. And just
why?
Well, in a nutshell, I think, the world still thinks of BTC as Bitcoin, and until there's until there's massive marketing or some huge use cases coming onto BSV, that will remain the case. Whether here come my BSV trolls after that comment, but that's the reality. BSV.
I forever have BSV trolls, and it's like I love all the BSVers, but I do, and I have a big following. And I support BSV and I support the vision, but like I said before, Bitcoin right now, when somebody thinks Bitcoin, they think BTC.
They think BTC. So just very quickly to finish that off, to placate my BSV trolls, I'm a huge proponent of it, and the reason I am is obviously here it is. We've got this public blockchain that is scaling. Now,
it's an amazing thing that they're doing, the block size, and it's scaling and the transactions per second, and you can do the micro transactions.
It could replace our financial system. Whereas BTC's
I can send
blockchain
1 cent to you. With BTC, I cannot send you 1 cent. It's going to cost me too much money. It's going to cost me more than that. So with BSV,
Lisa,
I can send you that.
It takes so long for that BTC
exactly.
to get
So
to you now.
Right now I can get my hand cash app, and I can send you a cent. Yes. And you will get it instantaneously. Yeah. And that's the thing.
Maggie, how important is that to people though? Because see, for me,
it's very important. If you're sending me money right this second, okay, and I have to wait 20 or 2 hours to get the money.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. We don't give a shit. Union. But here it is. I've just got one of these.
Yeah.
So this is a crypto debit card. For 4 years, I've been, that guy who was putting up the stickers, Bitcoin accepted here, using it with my friends. And now I've got this card, I can put crypto onto it and spend it anywhere MasterCard is accepted. So this, these the speed of transaction, etc. I think that, you know, that doesn't really come into it for me anymore when I'm talking the difference between the Bitcoins.
Okay,
If I want to spend it easily, I can spend it easily. I just think they're different things.
Okay.
I view BTC as something where, you know, we could see, you know, a sovereign fund take a large position, which could set off that effect. We could also see that happen with BSV. There, you know, these are, you know, the narrative, there is some real competition still there in that respect. You know, would a central bank actually adopt this? We do have a crumbling financial system now. This is going to be fascinating how this plays out over the next year. I see BSV has been much better positioned because they are scaling a public blockchain for multiple use cases now. Whereas BTC is still there. If I talk to friends that are in hedge funds, etc., they're still really probably talking about BTC.
But at the end of the day, it's like when you go shopping and you have that card and you're spending your own money, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's US dollars. It doesn't matter if it's Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if it's gold. It doesn't matter what you're spending. If you've got that card, have money, will spend. And it's like, I don't remember the last time I used cash anywhere. I just pull out an FPOS card or a Visa card or a credit card or whatever, and I go and use that money. It's the same thing. So if we can bring people across and they are using a card, and it's like, it's perfect. It doesn't matter what it is that you're spending.
Well, I know this card here. I mean, we were talking earlier about, you know, at the moment it takes, you can load BTC and Ethereum onto it. I think we should get BSV put on there, ladies. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You know, I think it's you know, for me, I do think they're two quite different projects now. I think they're going to. I think BSV could absolutely boom here. You know, interestingly, I saw there was, a few months ago when the two of you were at the conference, there was a medical company who had put 40 years of records or something onto the chain. Now, interestingly, I saw Donald Trump's son talking about the parent company of that company a few weeks ago.
Oh,
yeah, because obviously, as we're, you know, with what we're seeing now, I think the ability for, you know, a huge amount of data to go onto a public blockchain is going to become more and more relevant now because of what
so this is also something that I address in my movie. So, you know, the need for this public blockchain and for doctors to be able to access this so that patients can't go doctor shopping so that they can buy opioid drugs or whatever. So opioid drugs is a major issue worldwide where, you know, you're prescribed something like tramadol or you're prescribed something, you know, even stronger like the OxyContin, where it becomes highly addictive and, you know, therefore the pain that you were experiencing is not numbed by that drug anymore. And you're therefore seeking, and this is where these patients become, you know, they go shopping for these doctors. So if this is on a public blockchain and a doctor has access to all of these records, then, you know, we can fight this war on drugs that we're having right now. So
and war on viruses as well. Which we're going to have to be able to do now.
Exactly. So we're going to have to know that, you know, when you're traveling from country to country, you are virus free and, you know, that sort of thing. So this needs to happen. This is a public blockchain that we can like control the use of opioid drugs especially. So for me, this is such a big thing, and I'm so happy that BSV is addressing this, and that, you know, this is going to save lives, you know, over a long period. And, you know, the need to get these drugs, and I'm super passionate about this, you know, and to stop it from these people, because once they're on these drugs, it's like, they say it's not a gateway, and they say marijuana is not a gateway, but I'm sorry, it can be. And it's like, it's not for everyone, but with opioid drugs and the need to keep medicating and keep to that limit, and you can't just go off these drugs. If anyone knows anything about these drugs, they cause seizures, they cause blackouts, they cause all these issues. And, you know, for the people involved, it's this never-ending cycle of trying to get off them. And, you know, when they are trying to get off them, this is where the issues start and the withdrawals start, and then they start delving into, you know, other drugs and to try and, you know, numb the pain. And it just continues. So we need to stop this, and this is going to stop.
It's a strong theme in your script, isn't it? I think,
it's a very strong theme. So, you know, the issues that surround opioid drugs and the use, and it really needs to be addressed. Yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, that really is a good use case of a public blockchain. Another one, just quickly get your thoughts on this. I mean, obviously, you know, with this virus, there's some of my friends are very concerned about our social liberties. You know, there's a real division in the crypto community now over what's happening here with, you know, the social distancing, being told to stay in, etc. You know, there's obviously a huge libertarian movement within crypto. I think also where people may be missing the point a wee bit, I think the use of a public blockchain, if we are having to go through a scenario where, you know, it might seem statist that we're all having to follow these rules and give up liberties at the moment, but I think really a public blockchain use will actually build in those checks and balances, as opposed to, you know, a closed system where you're told do this, and then, you know, there is that real sort of central point of control. I think as we try and globalize what's happening now, that, you know, the use of a public blockchain really can come to the fore here. And I think people are maybe missing that a wee bit. And I think that will retain our liberty.
Maybe it will and maybe it won't. So is that then Big Brother watching us? Is that then...
Not with a public blockchain.
Yeah, because you have sovereign identity. I think you're talking about sovereign identity, where you own your own data. Yeah. And because there's all this talk about, you know, Facebook selling our data, etc. And I think I just read something on Twitter this morning at some university in the US where the students can go in for a free cup of coffee, but they basically have to give over their data, and they don't care because they're getting a free cup of coffee. But they own, but they still own their data, but they don't mind exchanging that data for a free cup of coffee. So they're getting something in return. And people, I think the thing is moving towards getting paid. If you want to use my data for promoting whatever it is you've got, product, it's my data, I own it, it's on the blockchain, and you can use it as and when I say, rather than when others.
It would be fascinating. Maybe you know somebody, Lisa. It'd be fascinating for us to get someone on that could really talk us through that use of a public blockchain in this new world that we're about to have, and how we can retain our liberties. Because, you know, if for example, if we're using central, you know, closed systems where you're getting on a plane and it's that social scoring, have you got your medical certificate? That's quite a scary future, but unfortunately it is going to be our future. Whereas the use of a public blockchain and, you know, how identity is managed, I think it'd be fascinating.
But that's the thing as well, that protects you against identity theft as well, which is a huge thing globally. So, you know, if you can verify your data on the blockchain, say you've got your own TXID or however they you know, set it up, and that becomes your identity. And it's like,
who do you think's good for us to get on for chat on that topic? Who would be the most knowledgeable? Bar your brother.
Yeah, I was going to say probably my brother, but Jimmy's probably another good one. So Jimmy can, So, you know, there's probably quite a few there that I can think of. So. Okay.
Because that's going to be a huge subject for us all to.
It is, and it's you know, is that, you know, there's this fine line right there between, is that Big Brother watching or are you controlling your own data? Yeah. So
I mean, here in Singapore, we have the option it's voluntary.
Here in Singapore, or here on my my secluded
my
island.
super island. Yeah, here on my island, we have this option where you.
She likes to throw people off, Lisa, as to where she actually is. No one knows with Maggie.
Where you can do this tracing, and it's done by Bluetooth. It's done by Bluetooth. But basically, anyone that signs up to it, and I think last week there were about 500,000 people in Singapore who had signed up to it. But it's a community spirit thing, because it's a way of, if, for example, I was in the supermarket buying food, had my phone with me, and then somebody else was signed up on it, and it just so happened that that person had CV-19 symptoms, then it's very easy to trace back to the people that may have been with or near that person to ensure their health and safety.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, people are saying, oh, Singapore, you know, it's a authoritarian state, etc. But that particular app, because we have different color codes here, from green to yellow, orange, red code, depending on the severity of the situation. At the moment, we're in orange code. But once it goes back to green code, you can switch it off, or you can just delete the app completely.
Okay.
And it is encrypted so that they don't have any other data. They get rid of the data after 21 days. It's actually just your mobile number, but then that's encrypted in such a way that you can't identify the person, because it is using Bluetooth, which apparently is more safe these days. I don't know if that's true or not, but whether people can sort of hack into it. But because that was my concern, actually, was the fact that I would have to have my Bluetooth on. Not that the government's got because the government here in Singapore, you have an ID card, they've got everything. So if you're up to no good, they're going to get onto you straight away. If you're a law-abiding citizen and you pay your taxes, you're fine.
Maggie Goody Two Shoes is never really good. We all know
that's me again.
Yeah, they're trying to introduce one in Australia.
A law-abiding. I mean,
did I say there was anything wrong with that? Of course.
Society, because I.
Oh my God! I didn't say there's anything. Maggie, you're a pillar of society. I'm praising you, for God's sake.
And I'm proud of it.
It's like there's anything wrong with it.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Be more like Maggie,
It's
people.
like, yeah, be more like Maggie. I don't see there's anything wrong with it. You know, I pay my taxes. I do all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting one. Do you think this virus is going to become politicized? I think we're literally only a week away, maybe days away from that becoming the case. Sort of the first signs of
Are we not already
unrest.
there?
I think it started happening today. The first reports I'm seeing where people have had enough of being told to stay in.
I've got friends in Portugal, and they've been inside for, you know, quite a few weeks, and, you know, friends in Italy that are clearly inside, so because of what's happened there, and you know, it's just they're becoming sort of military states, and you know, you've got
drones flying up to people on deserted beaches, giving them home, which is rather spooky. I mean, my position is we're going to all be extremely
well, Melbourne today, obviously I'm driving around, and I'm out and I'm looking for a new house to live, because I have to move and there's no other option. But there's signs around Melbourne, and I felt like I was in sort of some Hunger Games movie, and it says, you know, do you have to travel? Only, you know, stay home, and flashing at me, and I'm just like, what is this?
You know what I find really interesting? It's all the countries that are supposed to be democratic, that is supposed to have all this liberty. And you guys are all the ones that are feeling like, you know, some big brothers looking down on you. And I'm living in Singapore, where you know, the rest of the world's like, oh my God, that country, where it's big brother. But I don't feel that at all.
No.
Yeah, so when I was in Singapore, I felt very safe. It was a very safe place. And it's like... Yeah,
it's boring for people if they don't, you know, if you want a big party. Actually, there's a big party
I was going to say Singapore was not boring, not in the least.
It's a fun place. It depends on what you're looking for, but you know.
I've only ever hung out with you in Singapore, Lisa. You're not boring, and Singapore's not boring.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this is my concern at the moment, is if it does get really politicized, and I think it's going to, between the we have to stay in and I've had enough of staying in crowd.
No, I think they just want everyone to stay in while the governments are sorting out this sort of financial mess, so that then they can you know, sort that out first, and then once they've sorted that out and everyone's
so I had
we do need to stay inside to stop the curve. So if we know anything about trading, and the curve just keeps going up and up and up and up and up and up, and you know that it's just going to keep multiplying. So you know it goes from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8 to 16 to 32, and it just blows out. So you know, once you get to sort of the 500, you're going to 1,000, you're going to 2,000, you're going to 4,000, and you know, you need to stay home.
Have you heard what they've done in India? They've locked down for 21 days, and I'm hearing from friends, you know, even Indian friends who are getting the news over there that, you know, the Indian population are not getting. I'm not talking about the wealthy Indian or the middle class. I'm talking about the poor, which there are a lot of. They haven't eaten for days because they can't get hold of food, and they're not earning any money because all the restaurants and everything are closed down.
Yeah, this is a hard thing, and this is a hard thing in America as well. So a lot of people work on the minimum wage, and they work only for tips. And if you're not getting tips, how do you earn any money? And it's like, you know, I talked earlier about always saving for that rainy day, but you know, on the same hand, a lot of people don't have that luxury where they can put away any money. And, you know, I am in a privileged position in that respect. And, you know, I don't look down on any of these people in any way. And, you know, I really feel that, you know, if I've donated to several of these, there's been a lot of GoFundMe pages that I've donated to. And just due to the fact that there's one that Ben Affleck's got going at the moment that is going directly to charities that are helping people that are in these like positions that they're out of work and they don't have any money and they can't buy food. So, you know, they can't pay their rent.
Apparently, half the population in America, this is a statistic that I've heard, is that they don't have $400 US cash to their name. Half the population.
No, that's why they have such a big homeless problem. And it's like,
unbelievable for the most
so many
country
people
in the world.
Yeah, but there's so many people that are on the verge of homelessness in America.
So they've learned nothing from 2008.
No, I think it's only got worse from there. So, you know, I had a business, I had a modeling agency, and in 2008, when the world imploded at that point, I just bought this big office, and, you know, that was that side of it. I'm lucky on this side that I've just sold the top, but at that point I was on the other end of it.
That was in LA, you had the model agency, was it?
No, I had it in Melbourne. So,
oh, in Melbourne, yeah. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so, you know, that was trying to offload all of that and trying to get out of it, because at that point, film stopped coming to Australia. You know, the same as what's happening in LA at the moment, production stopped, not to the point that it has now, where everything has absolutely ceased and, you know, everyone's been furloughed and they're working from home. But at that point, you know, from having films, we had, you know, 10, 15 films at any given time, we went to having nothing.
Right.
And, you know, having all these people that this is their income, and we didn't have anything to give them. So, and without the income, like being an agent, you make 10% of any income that you make. So if there's no income to make, I don't make any money.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the thing. And, you know, I didn't, you know, while I had less income, I didn't have no income. I had, you know, savings and stuff to live off. So I was okay. But there was all these people that were out of work, and it's the same thing now. So to a greater extent, where it's gone through the whole community. And, you know, my daughter this week she's a casual worker. and every shift they've cancelled. So because they just don't have the people going in and buying takeaway meals.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just, so she's okay, but the people that survive on this money, and they've got to pay their rent, they've got to pay their mortgage, they've got to buy food, they've got to buy electricity. Where does this money come from if they're not working?
Well, that's supposed to be that universal basic income, but I'm also hearing that it's going to take months before they can even get it into people's accounts in the US. So what are they supposed to do and survive on until then?
But $1,200, where it's not
going to go anywhere.
Money, it's not going to go, you know, anywhere. Like if you're living in New York, it's one of the most expensive places to live in the world.
Yeah.
And you've got to pay rent, and you've got to pay, you know, buy food. It's like they're just going to have this massive homeless population coming on board. And it's like,
it's probably a good moment for us to maybe also explain how you know, Bitcoin and blockchain does actually work, because, you know, what we're talking about here is a massive disruption to our existing financial system. And I think, you know, Lisa, you're about to launch this website to really give people the basics on crypto. I mean, this is a really good opportunity to explain to people that, you know, while these are these currencies, it's also effectively coming with the infrastructure to use them. And I think that's something that's quite lost on people.
Yeah.
You know, it's those two things, isn't it? Maybe, Lisa, do you want to maybe give a basic explanation of that?
So, yeah, so basically, you know, if you've got a crypto wallet, or you've got like your card, but more importantly, a crypto wallet, I can send you any currency. So if I've got an Edge wallet, which it pretty much does everything, I can put in Bitcoin, Ethereum, BSV, BCH, XRP, whatever. I can put in every cryptocurrency in there if I want to. Yep. And I can instantly send you any cryptocurrency.
Through your phone.
You've got, through my phone, so or my computer, and I can do that. So I can just, you know, put in your ID, go in, bang, boom, you've got money instantly. So, you know, depending on...
It's separate to our existing financial system entirely.
Yeah, completely separate. So if I needed to get you $1,200, I could instantly get you $1,200.
Yeah. I think it's really going to be on people's radars soon.
You're on the other side of the world, and I can just get my phone.
And it's at the weekend, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you can get it.
And I can get you, you know, you're stranded on the side of the road, you need a taxi, you need whatever, I can get you money. And it's like, that's the thing that people are missing. It's like, so this huge big issue in the US that they need to get all these people money. And it's like, start looking at crypto people.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've had 10 years of proof of concept. So it's going to be fascinating to see, you know, how the regulated and unregulated worlds have come together here, how quickly that'll happen. You know, I think
it's all on the blockchain. It's all there. It's like, it's all, you can trace it. It's like, I can see that my money goes from me to you, and I've got a TX ID that tells me that was the money that I sent you. And, you know, it's all there. And I can even put a note on the blockchain, hey, Sean, here's some money. It's like, if I really want to. So...
it's all my trolls out there. I'm going to say it once again. I don't think it has to be an all or nothing with one of these solutions. I really don't. And I just know from my personal situation right now, there's 3 or 4 projects that I fully intend to have every possible piece of disposable income over the next 2 years going into those projects. I do think it's the future. I do think I'll be able to use them as currencies if needs be, if things get really ugly. But you know, this is also infrastructure that you've got to understand. Our current system if you don't know it already, I think you're gonna find out it's broken. And you know,
just to say it bluntly, it's broken.
It's broken. It's broken. You know, it seems a horrible situation where people probably are going to find out about crypto and blockchain, and maybe a little sooner than they thought. But I do see that happening. I really do.
Yeah,
might not be in the next few months. I think there's going to be the people calling me up and go, well, it's going down. And I actually, not financial advice, but I do think it is going down. I think everything is going down for a period.
Everything's going to continue down. So you can't print money and it's going to instantly fix a market. It's just not going to happen. It's like, in 2008, Australia did the same thing. We had a relief package. I think we've got one that it doesn't go to everyone like it does in the US. It's like, but $1,200 isn't going to go far in, that economy. No. It's just not.
In today's value, definitely not.
No. It's, maybe you could stretch it a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a little longer. I'm not sure. But if you've got rent and you've got all of these things to pay, and it's just not going to stretch that far.
Yeah.
Especially, if this virus isn't, contained in the immediate future and it keeps growing and expanding, it's just $1,200 is not going to go anywhere. And this market is going to keep going down. And it's just, that's the reality of it. Yeah, Wall Street Journal can say that they're into a bull market all they want. I don't care. It's not.
No. Always do the opposite of what those newspapers say, people.
I really respect the journalism usually in the Wall Street Journal, but I was so angry at what they said. And it's just like, to see a bounce, it's like it's a relief bounce. Indicators need to reset. There's certain things that need to happen in a market for it to continue, and to print that it had bounced back into a bull market was just so disappointing to read. So,
how are you, Lisa? How are you sort of looking at the crypto markets? Because obviously, there's a hell of a lot of new variables at play here. I really only talk about it from sort of an investor's point of view rather than a TA point of view, in that I'm taking fairly rough guesses at when people will come to that point of realizing, geez, where can I put my capital? And that's really where I see crypto moving up quite strongly. And to me, that really happens when after the pain, so to speak. From how are you sort of looking at the crypto markets? Are you just completely got that TA hat on?
So completely with the TA hat on. So short term, we're going to see a bounce. We've got some futures releasing, which will release short, which when you think futures, they go the opposite way. So when they release, obviously they buy into the market. So that will cause a short-term bounce. But immediate future, over the next 2 to 3 months, it's going to go down. So I'm not unrealistic that this coronavirus is not going to affect, Bitcoin and the whole crypto as a whole, because obviously if people have money in crypto and they're struggling, they're going to take it out. They're going to need to. So they're going to be looking at any way to survive. So short term, this is going to go down. It's going to be a buyer's market where, we're going to see maybe, another sort of, we're going to get close to that low, sort of, maybe 3,500 again.
I agree.
And then we're going to go up and we're going to see a new all-time high. So,
I also agree. It's going to go from maybe that sort of perception of a, that nice to have speculative, almost luxury investment for a lot of people to, in my opinion, a must have.
It's like I must have. I've got to, I'm traveling the world. I need to get money to you or to whoever, my child's in, so France, and, I need to send money, and it's an instant way to get it there. And that person can then get a hotel, or they can get food, or they can get whatever. And, that money is instantly transferable and usable, more importantly.
Yeah, exactly. So, even for the biggest skeptic of crypto, I would almost say that, you could view it as somewhat of an insurance policy, as that network
Hedging your
is there.
bets.
Yeah, that network's there for you to be able to move capital around globally anytime, anywhere, independent of however it plays out with our existing system. And I think even if you understand that one basic premise, given what's going on now, that's something you want to go and do a bit more of reading into and looking into yourself.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Before investing in anything, do your own research. Don't just listen to me. Don't just listen to Maggie here or Sean. It's like,
don't listen to Maggie.
Don't listen to me.
Well, Maggie, I think you're fascinating to listen to because, Lisa and I have sort of been immersed in content creation in this space, but, it's great to hear your perspective.
I'm the woman on the street that is a real crypto buyer and investor. And I have used it. I've bought and sold things with it, etc. Not very much. I mean, with the Bitcoin, I tend to sort of hold on to it for the time being. But
you're not a one coin lady, are you?
No.
No.
And for people that know me, it's like, I'm not a one coin lady either. I'm a big supporter of BSV.
I think you should use that tagline, Lisa, in your...
I'm not a one coin lady. It's like...
I'll let you take that one.
Are you calling me a hussy?
Well, actually, no, OneCoin was that big scam, wasn't it? We better
OneCoin. Oh my God, that Russian woman, that crazy Russian billionaire.
Yeah. No, I'm not like that.
No,
God.
Definitely not. No, I mean, look, I have kind of traded a little bit, tried to sort of, buy and sell and make a little hustle a bit on, the exchanges, etc. But I think you have to be very dedicated to that. So really, it's best to just hold on to it and then see what happens, especially in these volatile times. I think
it's never best to hold on to it, people.
Well, not forever.
Learn to trade it.
Well, if you're going to teach trading, yes, if you're going to get into trading, but most people do not have the discipline to be.
No, they don't. They don't. Most people buy the tops and sell the bottoms. So yeah.
So when I'm talking about trading, I'm talking about, you spend your day, you plan what you're going to do, you stick to it, you look at your risk management, you take all those, you detail everything, even on an Excel spreadsheet, so that you know exactly, because otherwise you're all over the place and you'll forget.
If you're a new trader, that's a must. And for a new trader, you actually have to write down your emotions, because if you start to feel these emotions when it's getting, you've got a green candle that keeps going up and up and up, and it's like, I must buy, and you FOMO in, and you've got to write down that emotion. So the next time you feel it, read your emotion sheet and you go, okay, no, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Or just do what I do and stick it all on a crypto prepaid card, and instead of trading it, just spend it when you think it's going.
Just spend it. That's it. It's like, yes.
I tell you what, though, it has actually, on that note, having one of these cards, it has sort of changed a bit of my mindset, in the past, where, because if I was going to sell out of a position in crypto, I'd tend to do it in quite large amounts. Whereas with these cards, having a few $100 on a card to actually just go and use some of my crypto, not as likely, I've found, to actually move, make a large position trade. Whereas in the past, I've tended to, you don't go, oh, okay, I'm gonna sell $100 worth of crypto. It's tended to be I don't know, it's a strange bit of psychology, probably not making any sense to anyone. Actually.
Well, when you've got it on a card, I don't think you see it. It's just money. Yeah. It's just, that's, for me, I don't see crypto as a store of value. I don't see it as gold. I don't see it as anything like that. For me, crypto is money. It's how I live my life. It's how I buy things. It's how I go places when coronavirus isn't on. It's how I travel the world. And you know, crypto for me has allowed me to have this amazing life that you'll see in my movie.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and you know, to do all these things, and this is what I want to show the world. It's like, this is what crypto is. It's like, it's money. It's just a way to, you know, move money from A to B, from me to you.
Very conveniently.
And yeah, exactly.
And efficiently.
Yeah.
Without the third party, people, without the third party, which I think is going to become even more important to people, as you know, there are people are worried right now when a drone is flying up next to you on a beach. There are certain things that need to be centrally controlled. Maybe your finances aren't one of them. So, you know, anyone that doesn't know a huge amount about crypto, at least
that's why so many people had money under their mattresses in, you know, the 1914 war and, you know, the Second World War. You know, you have it stuffed in your pillow or under your mattress.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So when's your website going to launch, Lisa?
Hopefully in the next week or two.
Oh,
so,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
And are you going to be doing...
We'll start making some, adding content daily.
Right. Nice.
Wow. Okay. Great. Are you going to go out on the street and interview people and do it that way?
No. So, you know, no, basically it'll be teaching people how to use crypto. So, you know, if you want to, you buy crypto, how do you buy crypto? So for somebody who knows absolutely nothing about crypto, you can come to my website and you can get started in crypto.
Or hardforking.com.
Can I shill something now?
Go on then, Maggie.
Okay.
Hang on, quickly though, Lisa, what's your website?
Sorry, go on.
It is called gettingstartedincrypto.com.
Good. It's got an SEO title. I went with something cheeky that's got absolutely zero SEO.
One coin woman.
Okay, one coin woman. What have you got to say? What are you shilling, Maggie?
I'm shilling a NYNJA. NYNJA.work, which is basically an all-in-one unified communications app for personal use, enterprises. It has professional use. That the enterprise is obviously through subscription, but it basically solves the fragmented communications issues that we have, because if you think about it, we all have about 3 or 4 different kind of apps that we use, like
3 or 4, is that all we have?
Oh, well, people like you, of course, you have Telegram, you have your Discord, you have all of these.
Oh, people were trying to get me onto, and I cannot use it for the life of me. Sorry, people. WeChat, it's the most horrible app ever.
Oh, that's the China, the China app.
The Chinese people that follow me on Twitter were trying to get me across, and I'm sorry.
Well, if you're doing any work in China, you have to be on WeChat. Just like in Thailand, you have to be online. So.
I was online too until recently, and I'm off that.
Yeah. So if you're doing business in those countries, you have to use those apps. But the great thing about NYNJA is that it sort of pulls all those apps into one kind of platform and just makes it a lot easier. So you can do conference calls with it. It is in competition with things like Zoom and Slack and WhatsApp, etc.
Is there a big point of difference, Maggie? So I mean, we're obviously on Zoom now. It's quite funny. I watched on Zoom's share price has doubled pretty much, I think, maybe even more since when I last looked. I noticed on CNN, it was obviously product placement. The presenter was like, and now we're going to Jim in New York on a Zoom call, and I'm like, oh my God, that was most blatant product placement of freaking CNN with all their bells and whistles. But anyway, Maggie, getting back to your blatant product placement, why is NYNJA better than Zoom, would you say?
Well, I mean, it has many different sort of features that all these other ones independently have, but this is all in one app. You've got all those features in one app. So it can transcribe into over 100 languages, for example, which is very important if you're doing this kind of remote work. The quality of the call, if you're making a call, which is free on NYNJA, is far superior to WhatsApp, I have to say.
So with NYNJA, so there's a feature that I love with Skype. So I can Skype somebody in India or China occasionally, because there's a feature on Skype that I love, because I can put on subtitles and I can speak to somebody in India in English and they can be speaking their language. And
that is cool.
Yeah, so I can read through the subtitles what they're saying, and I love it. So I can speak to anyone.
How accurate is it? If I go, I'll have 4 poppadoms and a rickshaw, please. Does it nail it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
All right.
So and NYNJA can do that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's something that I love about there's different features on different apps that I love. So if they can do all of that in the one, then yeah, why not?
I'm going to find a Hindi speaker and we'll do our next video on NYNJA, Maggie. And we'll put it to a test.
Oh my God, pressure.
So why are you shilling NYNJA? I mean, I would imagine you've got a piece of it, or I mean,
very tiny investment piece, and they've just closed the 3rd round recently. Which
so how do people? What you want people to buy, invest in it, or just use it?
No, I don't. No, we don't need people to invest in it, as in invest in the company. In fact, they've just done a huge deal with Samsung. Which was going to be just in America and then rolled out. But now, because of what's happening with this huge pandemic and everyone working from home, Samsung want to go global with it. So they're in partnership.
This is the first ever official shill on hard forking in 4 years, you realise?
No, that's not true. I've seen
that's good, I'm saying. I trust you, Maggie. You're part of you're part of the team. You can shill whatever you like.
Thank you.
Shill whatever you like. Shill away.
The proof is in the pudding. Just download the app if you've got an iPhone, or if you're using Samsung Android, whatever. Just download it. NYNJA, but with a Y. NYNJA.
Link below the video, people.
Thank you.
Very
Try
good.
it. But I'd be interested
We'll do our next call with
feedback.
it. Yeah. Do our next call with
it. You. All right. Sure. Why not?
We can record video.
Thanks.
Good chill. I'm in. I'm sold. I want 2. I want 2.
You haven't started it. You haven't even used it yet.
Well, we'll try it out next time. Definitely.
All right.
No, anyway, I think that's all anyone's talking to my group of friends at the moment, where to invest. So if it is something, I mean, can people invest in it? Because obviously media companies, anything you can do remotely now is, I have some friends that are in online sales of laptops with me last night, and their business is booming. They can't keep up. So it's one of those strange scenarios at the moment where.
Yeah, so I think, if you're looking for investments, I think you're looking for anything that's online.
Yep.
You're
media
looking for
companies.
anything that's delivery, especially delivery, because anything online needs to be delivered. So, start looking at those sort of things. Look at, your communications companies, like, ones that have global sort of affiliations.
Yeah. What about, I mean, Lisa, you've had a lot of time in production. I mean, Netflix has almost got a bit of a monopoly here in Singapore, and I'm done with it. There's nothing there to watch anymore. Not that have ever really been a huge consumer of Netflix, but God, I would have thought there'd be a ton of new content coming, because people are willing to pay for it right now. Why are we waiting?
That's it. They've got all their new subscribers happening, and I know at the moment that film, buyers are just like buying everything that's made at the moment. So I think we're going to see that new influx of content coming onto those platforms like Hulu, like Netflix, like Stan in Australia. So we've got Foxtel here in Australia as well. So. You're going to see all of that content sort of flooding in, because that's getting purchased at the moment. And then, like my film, I'm getting lots of interest, because obviously they need content moving forward. So as soon as coronavirus is finished, we're going to see, production sort of increasing. So, while these companies like, you've got Paramount and Miramax, and look for the public companies in these like Lionsgate, because all of these companies are going to have so much content that they're going to be producing and making and moving forward.
Yep.
This is what the economy is going to be sort of consuming and eating up.
It's also an extreme event like this really highlights, inefficiencies and opportunities in markets, doesn't it? We've learnt the hard way where, certain, a bolt that's required for some freaking machine that was only being made in a factory in China or whatever, and all of a sudden you can't get that. So the entire supply line falls over. The fact that we simply don't have enough content out there, coming back to your movie, it's, what I guess what I'm saying to people is there's always big opportunities in life where something is in a complete state of flux like this. So don't be too downbeat if you find yourself in a challenging situation. This is where you got to get creative.
If you find yourself, so adapt and survive.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what evolution is. It's like, the strongest survive. It's not the smartest. It's not, the one with the most money or whatever, although that helps. But, it's like if you can adapt and evolve and survive, then that's where it's at.
Well, if you've got a lot of money right now, and the way that it's been printed, I would advise you to start spending it or investing it elsewhere, because your money might not even be worth that much in the near future.
Yeah, invested in one of these markets that are, really taking off, and where the world's sort of looking for, the relief.
Or in a film, Lisa, or in a film. So how can people get in touch with you? Yes, I mean, could people invest in your film at a private level, and how do we go about that?
Yeah, I'm sure they could, definitely. So they can get in contact with me, and I can put them in contact with producers, and we can, get them investing if that's what they're interested in. So,
but investments like this at this time, I think that could be a really good investment. Investing in a film, investing in a piece of art, all these alternative investments now.
But what are we doing? That's the thing. It's like, what have we turned to in this time? We've turned to Netflix. We've turned to all of these things. So, this is what may be looked at as frivolous in other times. Right now, this is what we're doing.
Smart.
So we're, it's like, this is what we turn to in times like this.
Instead of talking to each other.
Well, we can't talk to each other. We've got to be a metre and a half. We've got to be a metre and a half. We're on a Zoom call. So,
although on Friday I had a virtual online dinner, my first virtual online dinner. So my friends, they cooked dinner at their place. We cooked dinner at our place, and then we got on a call.
Really? Got someone stuffing their face up at the
we were eating, and then for 2 hours, and then the guy who was hosting the call brought his mom in from the UK on the call. Lovely. It was a family dinner.
That is awesome. That is really awesome. So I've been threatening on Facebook about, having a wine tasting and putting wine in each room of my house. So
absolutely. Fantastic.
So,
invite me.
Maybe I'll have a global Zoom wine tasting, or a global NYNJA wine tasting.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, can I come? Can I get an invite, please?
See how many numbers we can get, and I'll do that.
Oh, that'd be brilliant.
3.
How many people can you have on a NYNJA video?
How many can we have on a NYNJA call?
100. Really?
Let me make whatever number you want. I'll make it happen.
Okay, if you would like to join our wine tasting NYNJA video, Maggie's address is below. Get in contact. We'll have our NYNJA wine tasting video chat next week.
Right. Okay.
Awesome.
There you go.
I'll provide the cheese.
You're all invited. Anyone watching this is invited, right, Maggie? Or are you?
Absolutely.
No guest
list.
Any
wine buffs out there.
Okay. I'm sure we're going to have some crazy people on that video. So.
I know a whole heap of wine people up in the Healesville area of Melbourne, so I'll get them involved if we're interested here, and we can get some people.
That would be
we can get
fun.
some, I'll get some people on board and we can start talking wine.
Yeah,
Perfect.
why not?
Perfect.
Great way to promote the wine too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have to talk crypto. It's we'll show off NYNJA and talk about wine.
Drink and be
great.
merry.
Well, we don't want to do cocktails. I'm not renowned for picking the best cocktails. So yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Sean can he can tell you how good my cocktail picking is.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. We're not going to go there.
1 for 1, Lisa. 1 for 1.
I've seen you drink a cocktail.
It was a really good deal. So in Singapore they had a 1 for 1 deal.
They have that everywhere here. Maggie's seen that. It's not 2 for 1.
So crazy.
1 for 1.
It's like you can get 1 for 1.
Today's special, 1 for 1. Yeah.
I think they missed the idea of that marketing.
Yeah, it's nearly as nonsensical as a free gift, which I saw the other day.
I bought something recently and it was like as seen on TV.
Like as it, oh God.
So it wasn't even the product that was seen
So
on TV.
people are going a bit loopy then. They can't think straight anymore.
Yeah.
Talking nonsense.
So how long are you locked up for in Australia, Lisa? Speaking of going loopy, same as New Zealand, one month?
I think so. I don't think they've actually confirmed that we're locked away yet. So
Oh, you're not?
No, not yet. So I've been in isolation here myself for about 2 or 3 weeks because I'm a little bit paranoid about germs. I'm a bit of a germaphobe for those that know me. So if I do go out like to the supermarket or whatever, I'm one of those people that doesn't touch anything anyway. So yeah. And I've always got my hand sanitizer with me. Yeah, have some hand. Yeah. I don't share any of my hand sanitizer.
Multi-wipes. Oh, can you see those? Oh yeah, my Tesco. Multi-disinfectant wipes next to mine.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not an official state.
No, not official yet. So we're getting the messages, stay away from people, don't go within 1.5 meters, don't touch surfaces, sanitize, wash your hands, all of that. So that's coming through, on the national network. So Optus and Telstra and whatever. So yeah. Yeah,
look, it's funny here. I mean, we've had this. I mean, we were the second or third country, Maggie, to actually have cases of it after China. So it has been quite surreal for us, isn't it? We were talking about this the other day. We see the rest of the world kind of go through what we went through almost 2 months ago now. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a normal scenario in Singapore, certainly not. But it's not the ghost town it was sort of 6 weeks ago.
I've noticed that there's more traffic on the roads.
You can see it in my reflection here. Yeah. I mean, a few weeks ago, there was nothing.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know whether this sort of second wave chat or whatever, or whether it's just been really well contained in Singapore. I don't know. I mean, I did an interview with John McAfee and Dee Dee from the Bitcoin family last week, which I haven't actually posted yet. But those two guys were really sort of vitriolic about thinking this is, a massive overreaction, putting it mildly, I suppose, is their position. So it's a tricky one. I'm certainly abiding by what the government tells me to do.
It doesn't sound like a very nice illness to have. So, if we look at what it's causing, the respiratory failure and, the heavy mucus and that sort of thing, and, the throat that feels like you've got razor blades. It's like, I'm not willing to put myself through that.
Want it.
So, I don't want it.
Well, I think the key thing, you raised it before, Lisa, is it's keeping that curve flat right now. And I think everyone does have to, just get with the program here and not be that idiot running around when the rest of your neighborhood is self-isolating. My attitude on this at the moment. But, whether or not this turns out to be the biggest overreaction, and I hope it doesn't become a really political issue. I think it will in the coming weeks. because we are sacrificing economies. There's no other way to look at it.
We are.
This is massive.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy times.
Yeah.
Are we still recording?
We are. Doesn't matter. Everyone will watch anything at the moment, Maggie. We just ramble on about it, any old nonsense.
We're just like rambling. I hope you're going to
have
edit
100,000 followers next week, Maggie.
How long have we been talking? I'm sorry, guys, if we've been rambling on.
I mean,
rambling.
I could have called my husband to bring my cup of tea that I normally have at this time of day.
Yes, Maggie's husband.
My tea.
Needs a cup of tea. Hang on, I haven't got a husband.
I'm British. I need my tea at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting conversation.
That's the reason I need a husband, Maggie. I need a cup of tea at 4 o'clock.
I got a booty call from somebody last week who was trying to rush me in before the lockdown, but unfortunately the border closed, so I couldn't make it to see her. But yeah, do you think divorce rates are going to? I'll tell you where it's going. I think it's the biggest.
Maggie's face is fine.
Actually,
I'm just clapping here like a seal. It's like because I'm looking at Maggie's face, and it's
wouldn't it be great to be in social?
Maggie's just like, I've been married for such a long time. That's a booty calls. What a booty call.
Maggie has a wonderful marriage, from what I've heard. We'll have to.
Okay,
we have to get.
Stop talking about my personal life in front of the whole.
Oh, true. I forgot we were recording.
Don't put that up.
What? That you have a wonderful marriage?
Well, yes, but you know, I'm very superstitious. When you start talking about that, you know how celebrities.
All right, Maggie doesn't have a wonderful marriage.
Maggie has the most terrible, horrible marriage, and it's like it's only going to get better.
Yes. No, you don't want to be in my marriage. No, but my husband and I were walking together. Okay, we were a meter apart this morning. In the street.
Well, no, you can be together because it's like yeah.
No, but he sent me this meme, and I do laugh at them. It was funny. It was a photograph of a bunch of doctors and nurses or people dressed up in PPE, you know, the protective gear. And it basically said, you know, it's amazing this time because you can invest in some great startups, and it was basically a startup where a team will come to your home. They'll take the guy away and tell his wife that, you know, he's got coronavirus. Take him over to his girlfriend's place for 14 days quarantine and deliver him back.
Oh my goodness.
It's not a real business, but I just thought it was so funny.
But imagine all the relationships out there that all of a sudden are in these utterly bizarre scenarios where, you know, a month, where whether we're going to see a huge increase in birth rate, huge increase in divorces. I mean, people having to decide, you know, which house am I going to here? I mean, it's just,
you've probably all seen that video that's going around on Facebook and social media where that guy's sitting there and he's like, you know, you've got the multiple choice question. It's like, do you stay at home with your wife and, you know, or, you know, B? And he's like, B.
Yes. I received that one. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
There's no thought in that. It's just B.
Yeah.
I don't care what B is. Just give me B.
Just get me the hell out of here. Yeah.
No, don't put me with my wife and kids for a month.
Oh,
no.
That's the other thing. The kids. Have you heard a lot of the stories about, you know, the parents who just can't cope a moment longer with their kids at home because the kids are trying to get online schooling, but then you've got one kid who's, you know, at the computer and they may not be fortunate enough where that kid can be in a private room with the computer, and he's got a brother or sister who's younger who's messing around and playing and doing whatever, and it's quite a nightmare for parents, I think. I mean, there's a big respect for teachers now. Yeah. On both sides, I would say. Kids and with the parents. The kids want to get back to school. They can't stand it either being at home. Yeah. So. Yeah,
well, we never had the full lockdown, or at least we haven't in Singapore so far.
No,
so I can't, you know, while I've literally been behind a fence for for going on for 2 months. I've barely been out. It's a completely different mindset, I suppose, to be told that you can't, which we haven't experienced here in Singapore.
Yeah.
So my thoughts certainly go out to anyone that's starting to get a little bit jumpy. I'm sure it's going to happen. But tune into our channel. We'll keep you entertained for hours. Rambling away like we are here.
We'll just talk. Here we go. So,
I'm going to bring my angel cards next time and do some reading.
What do they say about opinions? They're like armpits. I was going to say something else there.
I think, aren't they?
It's like everyone's got one. So yeah.
And if you're still watching this after what are we now? Probably 2 hours.
A really sad life.
Oh, Maggie, what are you talking about?
Oh, Maggie,
people might find us
we're the most entertaining people in the world right now.
Yeah, on that note, should I stop recording?
Yes.
I thought we were,
Have you stopped recording? Stop recording!
I forgot we were. Anyway,
Time out.
If you are still watching this,
I was doing a time out.
Say goodbye to anyone that's still watching this. Give them a silent round of applause.
Oh, thank
Hang
you.
on. I will say goodbye. Maggie, you'll probably know this one. Why doesn't the Queen wave with this hand?
Oh, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Because it's mine.
Oh. That's really
No one's gonna. God, now I was just gonna post this video as is. Now I have to edit it, Lisa.
No, he's gonna have to edit it.
I'm not. I'm gonna leave that in there. All right. If you want to see more of Lisa at our next show and her jokes, let us know in the comments below. If you want to meet Maggie's husband in the next show, let us know in the comments.
When
below.
he brings me a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you managed to watch this to the end, put your name down below.
What's your husband's name? It's like Robert. I don't know what his name is.
I'm going to have to give him a different name. Jeeves, please bring my tea. Thank you.
All right, thank you for watching, everyone. Tune in next week. We'll be hearing more jokes from Lisa. And
I need new content now.
And I'll introduce you to Jeeves.
Okay.
my new.
We're gonna keep chatting, but just say goodbye to everyone, so I can stop recording.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
Which hand, Lisa? Which hand?
This one. Or this one.
See you next time, people.